Let's kick it off here at the Power Rankings. This is a weekly series. We do this again for the entire season. Let us know what you think in the comments. Who do you agree with more and what would you change? At number 10, it is the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores has been a mastermind defensively. Kevin O'Connell has been leading the ship, and we all underestimated this team. Am I underestimating them at number 10? Maybe. Let me know in the comments. At number 9, I have the Steelers. As a Browns fan, it hurts me to put them here, but they continue to win games. It doesn't matter who is on the roster, who is their quarterback. They just always find a way to win. And Mike Tomlin is again proving that he's an amazing coach here in the NFL, but it only gets tougher for the Steelers. At number 8, it's one of my favorite teams in the league this year, the Seattle Seahawks, man. I think they are super underrated. They jump all the way up to number 8 in my rankings. And this is a team that's won 3 straight against opponents that, necessarily they weren't favored in all 3 of those games. Geno Smith has been amazing. And again, defensively, they're a top 2 unit in the NFL. So I like them at number 8. At number 7, they can't leave this spot, Amir. It doesn't matter if they win, lose. Preseason, they were here, and of course into the season as well. But the New York Jets, they're finding their stride. I want to see them continue to improve. At number 6, they have too much talent. Injuries have just gotten in their way. The Niners stay at number 6. Again, they just need to be healthy, but there's no way I can move them out of my top 10, even though they have a below 500 record. The only team on this list. So that goes to show how much we still believe in the Niners. At number 5, Philly. They picked up a huge win last week. I think it was great for the confidence of this team going forward. But can they continue to win these big-time games? They're going to need to, apparently, to pass Washington and win this division. Moving into the top 4, Houston, they dropped 2 spots after their loss to Minnesota. Why is there a 6-spot difference? Look, one game doesn't mean everything. Houston is, you got to find the flaws in this team. They have everything top to bottom. They just need to put it all together and find their stride. Hit, get the absolute lowest chemistry that they can out of this unit. Moving into the top 3, Buffalo. Look, they are the number 1 offense in the NFL as far as points. They have dropped 30 plus in every single week this season, and it's scary. Sometimes less is actually more, as we see Stephon Diggs is no longer in town, and the offense is better than ever in the Josh Allen era. Number 1 and number 2 is my preseason number 1 and number 2. It is still Kansas City, still Detroit. Again, the game that Detroit lost, I talked about it last week, Amir. It was the worst game I've ever seen Jared Goff play in a Lions uniform, but They bounced back last week, and I think they have a huge Monday Night Football game against the Seahawks this week. I want to see a statement victory out of Detroit. But that is my top 10. Amir, kick us off here.
So at my 10th spot, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I know people might lose their mind because they're 1-2, but I think after that week 1 game, this team has been clicking. Since then, they've honestly played juggernauts. They went ahead and played Philly. Beat them in a really close game, and then lost to Kansas City, down to the wire. And so I think just because of that, I don't want to move them much down because KC, holds a lot of weight. After that, I have the Saints at number 9. For this team, me personally, I think this team is fool's gold, but, they're not playing like it. Despite them losing to Philly, in a really close matchup, I think that's not enough for me to go ahead and move them down. Instead, I move them up, because they play hard. What I'm worried about now, they have Atlanta, which is a tough game. Atlanta's clicking right now. And after they have Kansas City. So if they don't win this week and they end up dropping 2 straight games and losing those 2, I think they honestly might end up trending downhill after that. After that, my 8th spot, I have Minnesota. Minnesota, I don't know how to feel about them personally. Sam Darnold is looking like Tom Brady right now.
Yes.
Obviously him, learning behind Shanahan and, the greatest San Francisco 49ers quarterback in history of Brock Purdy, for a year. I think that's helping them grow as a quarterback. But I have Minnesota at 8. Both sides of the ball look great. Defensively, they're looking really underrated. They have weapons offensively. 7, I have the Jets. This team, for me, has been just consistently here. They've looked consistently better. Defensively, I say. Offensively, the offense looks a little slow-paced at times, which is kind of concerning. But, A-Rod is getting better week by week. He's getting back in his groove, and I think, they're only going to get better. At my 6th spot, I have Philly. Philly looks dominant offensively. Defensively, it's still some concerns in that secondary, but, with them being young, them kind of being new together, I think they're only going to get better defensively as well. At the 5 spot, San Francisco. This team, in my opinion, is still too good to drop further down, despite the injuries. And, this team really, defensively, they've been struggling a lot, and it's kind of concerning, because, most of their injuries are on offense. And, the offense is still grooving, but defensively, they got to figure some stuff out big time. At the 4th spot is the Buffalo Bills. You had this team, missing the playoffs in the preseason. And I went out and said, if Josh Allen wins 12 games with this roster, this is insane. But I think the one thing you can't really replace is chemistry, and this team has chemistry, and I think that's something that you can't really see on paper. And this team is honestly flowing on both sides of the ball, and I'm most impressed with the defense. The defense has looked lights out on all three levels, and I think that's going to carry them through. At the 3 spot, I have the Texans, despite them getting blown out. I think that personally, that's kind of a wake up call for them, a wake up game. I think it more so has to kind of do with Minnesota being hot rather than Houston being that bad. And so I'm leaving Houston at 3. I'm setting some. I think they're still a top 3 roster in the league. At the 2 spot, I have Detroit. Detroit is still winning games without them fully clicking. I think that this team is only going to get better as well. They already have the chemistry to, they already have the whole city behind their back. I think them, Jared Goff has to, figure something out. The run game still looks solid. Jahmyr Gibbs looks great. The defense honestly looks pretty good as well, better than last year.
Right.
But, the pass game is very concerning.
Yeah.
But, I think they'll figure it out. One, Kansas City, I think that's without a doubt the best team in the league. With Mahomes, underperforming, not playing to his standard, they're still winning games, easily. So,
yeah,
Kansas is my number 1.